Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on earth. It's Mike Matthews here in the land of Ameritopica, and it's episode 2880.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2880. Hey, it's Mike Matthews, and it's me singing a song to you, and it's not wrong. Okay, maybe it is slightly wrong that I'm singing this song because there's no lyrics. That's it. I'm done. I'm gone. I'm out the door. I was starting this podcast.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I noticed that here at Café Anyway, the plants that we water
Daily
too much
Podcast.
have created these little stains on the wooden countertops, and I'm never ever going to be able to get that stain out. So that's not good. Zoom happy hours. Remember those during COVID? People would go, hey, we're going to have a Zoom happy hour. What's that? Well, we're going to have a Zoom meeting, and everyone get a drink. Bring your own drink along, BYOB. And we're going to talk and be on a Zoom, and everybody will be socially distant in their own houses, apartments. And we'll be safe from COVID. Well, Zoom rallies are in. With the presidential election so close, under 100 days, virtual political rallies are mobilizing support for Kamala Harris. It's like a comma and then la. I heard her explain it that way when she became the vice presidential pick over 4 years ago. They bring in an influx of energy and cash, these Zoom call focus groups. They focus on bringing together identity-based groups across the country. Here are some of the names that they have. Win with Black Women. That drew over 90,000 participants.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And it raised $1.5 million. The podcast picture is of a cat. It's the Cat Coalition. Cats. Because Mike is a cat man. A cat daddy. And I am not ashamed to say so. And there's a picture of Rocky the cat and I. See that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. Such a fun picture. And let's see, what else are there? What other groups are there? White Dudes for Harris. They had a call recently. White Women Answer the Call. That attracted 200,000 attendees. It was the largest Zoom meeting in history. Basil the Boxer. He would have loved to be on a Zoom meeting with Rocky the cat and met him in person. Unfortunately, they never met, but yes, Rocky the cat would have enjoyed Basil. The two would have played. It would have been interesting. Okay, the Harris campaign's ultra online meme-heavy entrance into the race has caught the attention of the country. It's also a sign that Zoom is still relevant, but barely. These Zoom meetings cost much less to produce than an actual rally and can draw far more people. Zoom's stock, by the way, and this is interesting, since the pandemic ended, remember how Zoom stock had just absolutely flown through the ceiling. Well, their stock is now down almost 90% since the pandemic ended. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and you heard about Deadpool and Wolverine doing so well. Let's see. It is the highest debut.
Now that's legit.
Of 2024, and the highest debut of an R-rated movie ever. And it outpaced what analysts expected. And let's see, it looks like 63% in the first week, 63% of the attendees to see it were male. Oh, by the way, it was the 34th film under the Marvel comic universe Or no, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's right. I used to have a roommate that did a podcast. And I was never on the podcast. I don't know why. I was never invited. But he did, his podcast was only about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he and this guy would talk remotely. The roommate that I had would be here in Podcastro Valley, and because that's where you do your podcasting, is in Podcastro Valley. And the other guy was over in Chicago. And they had, I don't know if they still do it, but I listened to it. It was pretty good. I learned a lot about the whole Marvel thing. It's something I can never fully comprehend and grasp. There's always some character.
I can't believe, what the hell is this place anyway?
That's what I say about Marvel. What the heck is going on? But this place is Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. The last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. So it was the 34th film done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Deadpool and Wolverine. So its audience members were 63% male. That's no surprise. In fact, two of the guys at work I know went to see it. And they're like, oh, we don't want to spoil anything. No, spoil away. I know all the stuff about Jennifer Garner, etc. 13.6 million people saw it the first weekend, and that equaled about the same amount of people that went and saw Barbie. So it's not just Barbie that can bring in the big people's audiences, amounts of folk. 11% of the audience was under 17, even with an R rating. 11%. Under 17. Disney overcrowded the market with superhero streaming and movies in recent years. Deadpool and Wolverine's coincided with Marvel's San Diego Comic-Con, which was completely intentional because that's where they just make they own it.
Anyway.
Doctor Who tries to get in there. Anyway, Café Anyway. The Star Wars stuff, but it's really the Marvel stuff that really takes off. DC tries to as well. Fans got updated film slate and a sense of where the franchise will lead. Will head out to in the coming years. Dr. Doom is set to be played by Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. As we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. And so, yeah, a lot of people learned a lot of things Marvel related in conjunction with the San Diego Comic-Con. So, let's cover a couple other interesting things. The opening ceremony for the Olympics drew 28.6 million viewers in the U.S., the event's largest audience since the London Olympics in 2012. A depiction of the Last Supper with drag queens. You heard all about that. And good morning, Mr. Matthews. Thank you, children. Children, it's Salisbury Steak Day. No. Yes, people on the right were not happy with the apology. Tailor-gating. 40,000 Taylor Swift fans got themselves a free Eras Tour show in Munich as tailor-gating. Oh, and there was the thousands of people who couldn't score tickets to a Taylor Swift's Eras Tour show enjoyed the concert from a hill nearby. 74,000 people saw the show inside the stadium. You probably heard about, I think it was in England, there was if I'm correct, that there was a stabbing that took place, sadly, and people died. Taylor Swift. That's the first major tragedy in conjunction with the Taylor Swift tour or shows or Taylor Swift herself, and she was devastated. Trump pledged to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the planet. He said he'd create a strategic national crypto stockpile as part of a plan to make the U.S. the Bitcoin superpower of the world. That's right. Who would have thought Donald Trump would say something like that? But that's... Now, the other thing was... Well, of course, he was on the stage. He was ready. He went and he did it. And to say he wasn't very well welcomed It's an understatement, but he was at the Black Journalists Convention Seminar thing. I don't have the whole name in front of me right here, but yes, he was grilled. He was asked tough questions. He was asked about his contradictions. He was asked about many things that people go, wait, what? He thinks that, huh? And then people on the right said the host was combative. And that was not... Well, he did it anyway. He walked into the lion's den. So people were... If they were surprised to see what he said, then they're easily surprised. White Dudes for Harris raised $4 million for Democrats' campaign against Trump. More than 150,000 joined the online stream on YouTube, blowing past the original target of 10,000 RSVPs. And then there's something called Promo Sapiens. In the first 6 months of the year, retailers each issued an average of 9 unique codes. So the 31% year-over-year increase, that's a 31% increase of the amount of promo codes that have been put out there. The average discount the code offered was close to...
Wow, that's wild.
Close to 18% off, whatever it was. The average savings per promo code was about $34. McDonald's quarterly same-store sales fell for the first time since 2020. Customers are shying away from the $9.29 Big Mac meal. Wasn't that $5 at one point? That was... I guess that... Yeah. I'm glad it's at that amount because I will never buy one of those then. Won't be tempted. 27% more. It's 27% higher than it was in 2019, just a short 5 years ago. It's jumped up 27%. So McDonald's is now focusing on value. It recently introed a $5 meal deal again. And they're trying their best. World's greatest athletes at the Olympics don't get paid like it. Let's see. Katie Ledecky.
Bison Bentleys. Do you know that?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that?
Do you know that? Katie Ledecky earns millions through endorsements. Like the amount of money, about 26.5% of her income is through endorsements. Olympic athletes had a total income of less than $15,000 per year. And about 60% of them make less than $25,000 during the Olympic years. So all of that from Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He is heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings, and he's also on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour. He also says about the Olympics,
Burger Master.
They are a costly flex, he calls it. The Paris Games are estimated to cost around $10 billion, with the local and national governments footing about half of the bill. Local hotels and construction companies typically reap the gains. Historically, the investment has not been worth it. The host will get infrastructure for future use. That's true. They also get the positive PR, which will help in the future, and they get tourism revenues, and that positive PR helps with future tourism.
Do you have any safe spaces?
Safe spaces?
Yes, where people can go to get away from the colonialist mentality. As long as there's a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, we'll be fine.
Oh, DEI. Lots of talk about that lately. So, 1976, actually... If we go back in time, Montreal, when the Olympics were held there, the locals called that the Big O, as in O-W-E, like they owed a lot of money. They were in debt. Greece spent on the 2004 Olympics $11 billion. That contributed to the country's debt crisis. And let's see, China's $40 billion for Beijing in 2008, and Russia over $50 billion on Sochi in 2014. Lots of corruption, but Los Angeles in 1984, I remember that very well because we were in Ventura County. We were called the Olympic Neighbor. I had a T-shirt that had the Olympic symbol on it and said Olympic Neighbor. I don't have it anymore. It's long gone. None of my T-shirts from the 80s survived, sadly. But Los Angeles 1984, which is probably a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. 1984, it's the only city ever to profit from the Olympics, largely due to its use of existing athletic... That's a very good thing. No, but it's not largely due to its use of existing athletic facilities. In fact, I remember the rowing event that happened around Ventura County because we had a lot of waterways. We had Channel Islands Harbor. We had Lake Casitas. So, yeah, they made the I think they also used the Coliseum. Oh, I think that's where Lionel Richie had that song, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. Make it a better place if you can. Barcelona, which had Freddie Mercury. Yes, Freddie Mercury was still alive back then, singing with that big opera star from Spain. Barcelona successfully beautified its cityscape for the 1992 games, and that boosted tourism in the long term.
To self.
Yeah. So that's all fascinating stuff. I haven't been watching the Olympics. I just saw the clips of Simone Biles doing that amazing stuff. Like, wait, was Marvel involved in any way in that? In what I just saw? Was that a special effect? No. Note to self, note to Trump. Try not to be creepy with the way you say certain words.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
All during that interview in front of the black journalists, when he said the word black, did you hear that? It was kind of a black. He was very, I don't think you want to say the word that quite that way. But he has that weird emphasis that he puts on certain words. But hey, let's not just pick on every single politician, shall we? Because this would be that kind of a podcast, and it's not. We took a little time out to do a little observing of that kind of thing. But look who's here. Hello, my master, to Madame Rootabega. I say words very strange sometimes. Ooh, you do. Do you like words? Yes. Do you like to put emphasis on words? Yes. Did you like Deadpool? No. You know, it's not for everyone. And it looks like it was mostly for men anyway. But, oh, thank you very much. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino. And
this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we just poured you a root beer today.
Yeah, drink it. Do you know that? I need it now. So good. Hey, Kevin, who used to do the segment Addendum with Kevin, just notified me that Dave Attell will be coming to the Bay Area, to San Francisco. I think Cobb Comedy Club or something. I don't know if I want to get tickets yet. Tickets are like $50, $50 to $80. But Dave Attell makes me laugh my head off, so I don't know. And I'm slowly turning into Dave Attell physically too, which is not good because I don't even smoke. So, but the gray beard thing and all that, jolly bald head. Yeah, what do you think about all that? You can call me at this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, there's a place that you can go. Yes, it's the Mainframe is where we're going now. And to find out all things to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, it's A-Frame.
Anarchy! I don't even know what that means, but I love it!
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!